Hey everybody, my camera is insanely high. What's up? um,
It's so hard.
it's like so zoomed in and like I don't know what happened with it. What is going on? It doesn't matter. You can see my face. How's everyone doing tonight? Welcome to Couch for It, where I am Drew Tillman. Oh my god, my brain broke on that. And I'm always joined by
Always joined by Belinda
Yeah, there we go.
on the other end of this giant blue transatlantic couch.
I like keep okay. I'm gonna have to just really focus because I keep seeing it in the corner of my eye and my head. For some reason, it didn't look like this a minute ago. My head is like, here's the thing, and my head is just like this. Oh, it's a mess.
No, it looks absolutely fine.
We're gonna be talking about episode 8 of Altered Carbon today,
Yeah.
which I'm very excited about because ever since we started this, I've wanted to get to the end game of this series because it's ridiculous.
Yeah. Yeah. I was like, what? 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 Like the entirety of this episode.
We're finally getting there, and I'm so excited.
Yeah.
So,
So what your initial thoughts?
oh yeah, you beat me to it. Damn. My initial thoughts on this were, probably what? Wait, what? Man, what? That's fucked up. That's what I remember thinking the very first time I watched this episode.
That's a fair comment. Yeah, I think what? That pretty much is my comment on this. Wow, what?
It is.
Shit happens, man.
It
Like,
does. It does.
it's just the lots of things, lots and lots of things in this episode. My God, I'm not even sure. Like, we're gonna cram everything into an hour because holy crap, things happen in this episode.
Right.
And we've already had like a really brief, you know roughly what I'm going to bring up later on. Like, we have a really brief discussion. I'm really like, I need to talk about these things like so desperately. Full disclosure, funnily enough, I didn't take notes again this week because I was sewing a patch onto my hoodie.
Oh my god, Valanda, we thought we were professionals here.
We are totally professional. I can multitask like a pro, so that's my level of professionalism. So yeah, it
You
was.
just can't sew and write notes at the same time.
Yeah, exactly.
That seems like a fair in a bit thing
Yeah,
you can't
I
do.
decided to trade out one. Anyway, so the beginning of this episode is us looking at. Oh my god.
The episode opens with the standard voiceover thing. We see a lot of stuff that happened at Stronghold, dead people covered in ash, that sort of thing. And Kovac is talking about
Kovac.
how
Thank you. I was trying to find his name.
Kovac talks about how perception colors the way you see things, and
Yeah.
if you believe something long enough, it becomes true.
Yeah. So yeah, it's the idea, yeah, of everyone shapes their realities by what you perceive. And if you believe a lie for long enough, that is more powerful than the truth. And sometimes the truth kind of shake you of that lie.
Yep, and especially if you believe a lie long enough, and then you find out the truth, it's just like it's earth shattering because you build your entire perception on it.
Yeah. Everything is based on a lie, I think, is essentially what's coming through here.
Yeah.
Which kind of like leads like a little thread that just goes throughout this episode is the idea of like, where does this lie come from? What is this lie? And what can you do with this lie? It's an interesting episode. So yeah, we see this very cool beginning. It's just essentially just a rehashing of what we've seen before. With Kovacs doing his voice over Dubry, and then we move on to
Kovac clutching Ray's face and asking, like, what the fuck, basically. Like, why did you do it? Why did you kill everyone? I mean,
yeah,
I loved you. I loved her. What did you do? Why did you hurt me this way?
like you killed everyone. You killed our entire family, and I loved her. What are you doing? And she's like, I did it for you.
Yeah, because you find out here that you find out a couple things in this quick scene. It's all fairly rapid succession. You find out that Demi was working for Ray at some point. You find out that Ray thinks she's the only one who would take care of her family, and she would do anything for her family, and we still get those creepy fucking incest vibes.
Oh my god, there's so many. So yeah, like that was the thing I noticed again in this, like, just that little scene between the two of them is like, it's just so you and me can be together forever. I'm
Yep.
the only one who can look after you.
It's
I love you. It's like, oh,
it's
it's
still there and it's still awful.
it's
Like
cringy.
it doesn't get better. I hate it so much.
No, it's so cringy.
Oh god.
It's not good.
No.
So that side, she clearly does it because she loves her brother. Cough, maybe too much cough.
Cough cough.
Cough, cough.
We do get Kovacs threatening her with a sword that he grabs off the wall because again, as I said last time, evil people just have weapons everywhere for some reason. Just
Oh my god, yeah, that
fuck
comes
it.
up again later, and I remembered you saying that comment and it ruined it. Like, I know what's happening here.
No, let me tell you. Watch anything. If someone goes into a place and you don't know who's there or whatever, if it's covered in weapons, you're in the bad guy's house. Doesn't matter what you're watching.
And there's probably going to be a fight scene.
Oh yeah, there's gonna be a fight scene.
Like-
Someone's gonna use one of those weapons.
Yeah, because it's conveniently placed. I'm glad nobody's looking at my walls because they're actually covered in weapons right now. I'm not a villain, I swear.
Mine are down next to me within easy reach. I like a good guy in a movie hide mine away, but they're there. They're
Yeah.
there.
So yeah, he pulls a sword on her and threatens her life, and she basically says, if this is what you need to do, if you need to kill me, do it. I will always find you because I'm a creepy stalker." Like, she didn't add that last line, but yeah, it was like, "I will always find you." I'm like, oh boy, that's
Yeah. She didn't say she's a creepy stalker, but she's a creepy fucking stalker.
she clearly is.
But it
Yeah,
cuts.
and
It cuts from there. Like that's pretty much that scene. It cuts from there to Ortega because now we get to check in on Ortega, who's going into the police station, and she is harassed by this. I think it's the same reporter that she tells to go fist herself like 4 episodes ago.
I think you're right. Yeah.
But basically, this reporter asks Ortega something leading and kind of shitty, and Ortega is like, "Fuck off," and then sees Bancroft's lawyer, who I think is named Umu or Oma. I have never her name. They say it like very rarely.
I think it's Oma. Like, I think every time I watch the because I watch with subtitles on because I'm terrible. I think it always comes up with Oma. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, she's standing there, and Ortega wanders over to her and like, "What the fuck, man? Like, what the hell is going on? Why is Bancroft involved? He knows I think it's a murder. What the hell? Come on, dude. What are you doing here?"
And that's basically, and then the lawyer basically tells her like, "Hey, it doesn't matter what you think because I'm just gonna kind of ruin your fucking shit. Like, fuck you. I'm super rich and powerful, and I work for super rich and powerful people, and you're just a." I don't know. He basically calls her a dog or some shit.
Yeah. Like, like you get that very much of like, I'm going to become one of them. I basically am one of them, and you're low level scum. So I think it's the fake it until you make it is exactly what this woman is doing.
I think so, which is pretty great in my opinion.
Yeah, it's kind of cool to see. Like, you know, she's clearly not gonna fit in, but she's gonna try anyway because she knows she wants to do a thing.
She really does. And it's
She
great.
really does. So yeah, they do this little scene, and that's basically it. Like, I think she just turns up to threaten her, to be a pain in the ass.
Pretty much. I think she's threatening her, basically saying like, "Hey, back off," kind of thing.
Yeah, like, just stop investigating, just to stop this.
Yeah.
And then Ortega goes inside. I think at this point.
She goes inside, and we get that very, very classic scene, and it's only done in cop shows. Occasionally, like school movies where it's like a college thing or whatever, where someone goes in and everyone like goes quiet and stares at them, and then the person's like, "What the fuck are you looking at?" And everyone goes back to what they were doing.
Yeah, exactly. It's that very cliched moment. It really, really
Super
is.
cliched. It's the most like one of the most tropey things that is in stuff, and I'm like, yeah, there it is.
Yeah, it even has that bit where like that she sits down or stands opposite the place where her partner was, and her eyes just look across, and the chair is empty.
It's
like,
so tropey. It's just like, wow, you guys. Oh, you could. It's like there's a formula for this kind of scene that people just like plug it into a script. Like they're writing a script and they're like, okay, so hero's doing this, And they're just like, formula persons tortured by partner's disappearance or whatever, and they just like move on with the script because everyone reads it. They're like, I know that one. I can set that up.
Yeah, there's a reason why these tropes exist. Like it's to help us, and we just go, oh, that's what it means. Like she's trying to grieve, but still put on like the cop face of go fuck yourself.
She's gotta be tough and in charge and strong and
like I've got this rah. It did make me feel sad. It did genuinely give me the little like eye roll of like, oh no, why this, guys? I think you're better than this. But it's quickly forgiven because they just leave it. Like it's maybe 2 beats and that's it. They're done. I'm like, we need to nod to this trope, but we're done with this now.
I'm also gonna call myself out here because you didn't hear it, but I forgot to mute one of my messaging services, and I definitely went through on Discord or Twitch.
Oh boy!
I know you heard someone out there, if they were listening, heard the noise of a Slack message coming in.
That's why I didn't hear it.
Yep. Because
just go through your computer.
Exactly. But I'm going to call myself out because it's embarrassing. It's also great.
Well, I know what the description of this episode will be.
But for those listening to the podcast, they'll never hear it because it wasn't in the podcast. But yeah, so Ortega's got to be like tough and strong and show everyone that she's in charge. And Tanaka shows up and is like, what are you doing here? I don't know. You kind of get the impression that Tanaka is like sort of a good guy, but he's kind of caught in a really shitty place.
Yeah, he knows how the system works, and he's high enough to be affected by how the system works. It's like being high enough in the office to be affected by office politics, rather being the grunt who is just basically will have to just deal with it anyway.
Yeah. And it's like he's trying to protect his underlings, so to speak. Yeah. But he also knows he can't really do much because like they kind of run everything. So all he can do is go with it.
Try and make the best of it, basically.
Yeah. But you find out here, and this is probably one of the best quiet arguments, because she's like, what are you doing here? I thought I broke your back. And he's like, you did. And then he says some sci-fi jargon, and basically his health insurance deductibles run out for the year.
I took all my deductibles. It was so good.
Because the future is a terrible place and healthcare is awful.
Healthcare gets no better than, as I understand it, how it currently is for you guys.
Basically, if in the future, in America, the healthcare system's going to be trash. I think everyone in America already knows.
Yeah. So they have this nice, and I think at this point he tells her to go home, right?
They go into his office and he puts her on leave. He's like, "You're on paid leave, so get the fuck out of here." Yeah,
like, get the hell out of here.
But she doesn't leave.
Of course not, because she's Ortega and she has some issues. She has some scores to settle. So far as she's concerned,
hold on. It cuts from. It cuts back to Ray and Kovacs for a second.
It does.
Yeah, I have notes, so I have.
Are they just not angsty at each other at this point? I don't want to live without. Oh no!
You find out a few things, yeah. So like,
yeah.
Ray is trying to get Kovacs to just fucking sit down and talk and like calm down, and about how they kind of talk about forgiveness, but like Ray is a crazy person.
Yeah, we find out that Ray's just like a cold-hearted bitch, which I think we picked up previously anyway from the. This is the episode of Flashback, and basically. We find out that she's doing all this because, she got paid for it, she got clones out of it, she got backups out of it, and she basically said, she's doing all this for him, and if he wasn't part of it, then everything to her would be pointless. And then it's like, well, you better go, I need you to do something for me.
Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah, you also find out that Tanaka was working for Ray. You find out that Ray wants the Bancroft case closed, which is what she wants Kovacs to do. She wants Kovacs to frame someone and just close the case. Yeah,
we find out that she manipulated Bancroft into getting Kovacs.
Yeah, to get him off of ice.
To get him out of ice. So she manipulated that situation, as we kind of like find out, from looking at her other set of sleeves, that it's the crazy lady with the snake, the criminal in it. And yeah, and then at the end of it, when he's like, I guess we'll have to consider it. We find out that the Ghost Walker
Yep, the Ghost Walker works for Ray.
also works for Ray.
And this is where you find out. Oh no, not quite. We'll get back to that in a second. Because that one's a good one.
Yeah, that was a good one.
That's when it goes back to Ortega, and she goes to talk to Mickey about the Ghost Walker.
Mm-hmm.
This scene is kind of pointless because there's not a huge information dump because basically she's just like, I'm on leave and I can't be here, but I still need your help, kind of thing.
Yeah, because at this point she's been told to leave, but in her opinion, she needs to try and find Kovacs. She needs to find who took him, and she wants to know more about the Ghost Walker because she thinks that's all involved somehow, which clearly is.
Yeah.
And the dude, who I will forever know as Warren, unfortunately, he's like, I don't want to do this, but I'll do it. And he's like, no, you have to leave.
He says my favorite line. And it's because it's my favorite because it's just like, what? She's like, I need you to do this. And he's like, this is bad. And she's like, just do it. And he's like, do you remember when I almost got fired for saying I could see your areolas through your shirt? This is worse than that. And I'm like, what a weird metric you have.
Oh boy, yeah.
Your metric for bad things are, I almost got fired because I sexually harassed a person. This is worse. Okay.
It's nice to know that he put such great stock in sexual harassment. Like,
right?
This is right up there with basically being treasonous to the captain.
Which is great. Which I also love Ortega's response because he says that and she's like, vaguely? Like, she doesn't remember the situation at all.
It's like, it actually mattered zero to her.
She's just like, oh, Mickey was saying some dumb shit at one point and then he almost got fired.
Yeah. It's like, well, it's an everyday occurrence for Mickey, apparently.
Yeah. So she kind of recruits him to start, like, running a facial recognition. Oh, she recruits him to run a facial recognition for Kovacs, which we talked about. She also gets him to run a gene... I forgot what they call it. Basically, to run the DNA she has on her hand from punching Ray to find out who that person was. Because she doesn't know who she is.
Yeah.
And that's
all she knows that crazy ninja lady turned up with a sword, killed a bunch of people, and ran off with her not boyfriend.
Exactly. So she's like, can you track this DNA and can you find Kovacs? And that's where that whole conversation comes in. And then it jumps back to the Ghost Walker and Kovacs and
in
an elevator, yeah.
Fucking best. So they're standing in an elevator, and the Ghost Walker says, "Are you a believer?" I'm like, "Oh no!" And then their fight doesn't happen. I'm like, "Oh, thank fuck for that," because that'd be so dumb.
It was very dumb.
Which led to one of my favorite lines of this, like, "You can't be trusted in an elevator," which I thought was beautiful. And basically the Ghost Walker goes on to say that he believes, people are immortal. They have a great amount of power. This basically makes them gods. Like any by old school definitions, unkillable, ultimate power, which all these meth heads have. And because, like, Ray has been around for 250 years, she's clearly the biggest, baddest goddess of them all. And Kovacs is like, you're an idiot.
Yeah, I do. That's what I like. Like, I don't like the religious nutbag trope thing that goes on, but I do like the fact that he's a religious nutbag for just a crazy person who happens to be unable to die. It's not like she could not be killed. She just is so rich and powerful that killing her would be very, very, very difficult.
Yeah.
So he's like, this is my God. My God is a living, breathing thing, and if I pray, she will answer because she's there. And I'm like, okay, that's kind of a cool, like, twist on the trope of this person is a religious nutbag who also gets to talk with their God, which I think is kind of neat. But yeah, I also like the line of Kovacs telling him to just attack him because it would be less painful.
Yes. Like, just attack me because it's going to be less painful than listening to this talk.
He's like, oh my God, shut up, dude.
Yeah, which I thought was just funny. It just made me just giggle that bit. And so the Ghost Walker basically offers Kovacs a hood, and he's like, dude, I'm not putting this on. And the Ghost Walker's like, well, Ray doesn't want you to know where we are. Put it on or I start killing your friends.
Yep, because classic villain, I threaten all of your friends, deal with it.
Yeah, which is... I think as Kovacs, I may be raising some red flags at this point of like, my sister's killed everyone I know, everyone I consider family, killed my girlfriend,
Mm-hmm.
and also now she doesn't want me to know where she is, but she wants me to trust her and treat her like my closest sister slash lover again.
Couldn't be a single thing wrong with that.
No,
right?
not a single red flag there, just like at fucking all.
No, none, not even a little bit.
No,
Oh, God.
but he puts the hood on anyway.
Yep. And that's when it cuts back to Kovac and Mickey, where Mickey,
Ortega.
sorry, Mickey and Ortega, yes, and Ortega's coming back in, like putting a fresh shirt on because she showed up right after the fight at Fight Drum, so
Yeah.
she was like bloody and bruised, and like her clothes are all fucked up, like she looked like a mess.
Yeah.
Which everyone commented on, which was just really rude.
Oh, that's one of my favorite comments. It's sort of like, your hair's messed up. He's like, thanks, I spent hours on it.
Forgot about that line.
It's like, it's one of those stock standard things of like, yeah, I look like shit, but you know,
Like,
fuck you.
we all know. Like, let's just move on with what's happening. But she comes back into the room and he's like, "You have to go," and she's like, "Yeah, I'm already leaving." He's like, "No, you have to go because Kovac is here. Like, I found him."
Yeah.
And Kovac is back at Psychosect.
Yeah.
Which is great. Good place to be.
Wait,
No, not sorry, not. Is it Psychosect?
He's
He's at the prison either way. I mean, he's at the prison, whether that's Psychosect or not.
So yeah, being at the prison, and we see this. We're back. We then go straight back to him essentially in this alleyway with the Ghost Walker.
Yep.
And there's
Watching
this.
neo-Catholics screaming about stuff.
Yeah. Screaming about, don't do this, yada yada. And we see there's like this twitchy, nervous-looking dude in the alley. And we go on to find out that it's actually, I want to say Anna. Ava. Close. It's close.
Very close.
Well, Ava, which is Elliot's wife / insane girl's mum.
Yes, and she has been cross-sleeved.
Yeah, so she's in a dude.
She's not happy about that.
This
I don't
is no, she doesn't like this at all. But she's been taken out of prison because Kovacs needs her, because he needs her hacking abilities, and we found out that Ray did it. So Ray basically is like, yeah, beggars can't be choosers. As she puts through the Ghost Walker about, I'm not a charity case. You get what you're given.
Yeah.
So,
Also, I want to clarify. I'm not like, I don't blame her for being upset that she's been cross-sleeved, because apparently when you come out of ice, you are already confused.
Mm-hmm.
Most people get sleeve sick when they put in a new body. Just like, there's a lot of factors that she is waking up dealing with like very rapidly. It's like,
yeah, I think in like the future terms, like it may be different knowing that you're going to be cross-sleeved.
Yeah,
because...
like, I think if you knew it or you chose it, it'd be a whole different thing. But just like waking up, because everyone who wakes up, like Kovac is the only one who woke up, and even he was confused when he woke up at first, because he's like,
yeah,
where
for
am
like
I?
the first like 10 or 15 seconds, something dumb.
But everyone else, like in that first scene where he's sitting there watching that little hologram or whatever, everyone else is just like, they might as well be stoned. So she, Ava's like coming out of that. She's been cross-sleeved. She's like just sleeve sick in general and confused as to what's happening. It's like, that's just a mess of a situation to be in.
Yeah, and then as a girl to wake up with a penis, I think that'll be pretty confusing.
Especially if you weren't expecting it.
Yeah, like, oh my god, there's a dick. Like, waking up one day with that will probably be quite confusing. I think it'll be equally confusing for you guys waking up and going, I don't have a penis. So yeah, I think unprepared cross-sleeving. Yep, I think that's
a big deal.
It's confusing enough being human as it is, let alone changing your entire body. So yeah, so that shit happens. And I want to say that Ortega meets up with Kovacs.
Yeah, because Ortega gets there as they're trying to leave, and the Ghostwalker puts that weird little fucking silver thing to the back of Ava's neck, and is like, get rid of her, or you'll have to find a new dipper. So Kovac goes over and is an asshole to Ortega. Like,
of course,
the biggest asshole in the world.
Yeah.
Basically, it's like, I want a new body because I don't want to be chased down by every criminal element. I didn't get your boyfriend hurt. Like, he's just like a real piece of shit.
He is like a grade A douchebag.
It's awful.
Yeah, and yeah, I'm hoping that's a degree of him trying to get her away and not him actually being an asshole, because my opinion of him changes pretty rapidly towards the end of this episode.
I think it's great because whether or not he was attempting to let her know, she does comment on it later in the
Mm,
way like she it's it. I think it's her next scene. She talks to somebody and she's like, "He was an asshole," and the person she's talking to was like, "Yeah, or he's just an asshole." Like even she was like, "That's not how Kovac acts. Like Kovac is an asshole, yes, but he's not that big of an asshole."
yeah, you know what, which is like their natural flow of being a dick. Like they were especially dickish. Like
Yeah,
they were like on point dick.
yeah. Because I mean, the Kovac has been short and dickish and rude to everybody since he got here, but he engages with everyone's random shit. Like he engages in the way that like he's an asshole along with what they're saying. And in this scene, he shuts down everything. Like every
Yeah,
time she says anything, he just shuts it down.
he goes out of his way.
Exactly.
Like just like especially out of his way. Like normally it'd be like in the flow of things, but he just went, nope, being a dick, being a dick, being a dick, being a dick.
Yeah.
There's no recognition of anything in there at all.
Nope.
So she naturally goes off in a bit of a strop, and he goes back to his hacker.
He goes, and they go back to the Raven Hotel, and
Oh
as
my God.
always, Elliot and Poe are having a fucking little like.
Spat.
It's almost like they're a married couple with them, like the way they fight, because it never seems serious. It's just kind of like, oh
It's
fuck
just
you,
bickering.
nah, fuck you.
Yeah, it's like the 50-year-old bicker that has never ended. It's the
great.
argument you have like the first day you meet over something really benign, like that's a kitten or no, that's a tiger, and he just goes on forever. It's just a very small bicker, and we find out that that Poe has been teaching the girl his daughter, Elliot's daughter, how to use knives.
Yeah.
And the dude's like, "This is not right. Why are you teaching her to be violent?" And he's like, "No, I'm teaching her to be confident. I'm teaching her self-reliance and power and stuff." Um,
Best line in the whole episode though is because when Poe defends it, he's like, "Oh, it's an excellent way to train hand-eye coordination." And Elliot's like, "Yeah, so is tennis, or the violin." And Poe's remark is, favorite line, "To my knowledge, no one has ever crushed the testicles of an assailant with a stringed instrument." And it's like, well, it's hard to argue with that, Poe. And it's definitely like
Yeah.
it's the line on the episode that I don't know who wrote this episode because I didn't look at the credits. Feel proud of yourself because that's a great line.
It's a great visual as well.
It really is.
So good. Interrupting that wonderful little bickering scene they have, their chemistry is just fucking on point.
It really is.
I keep, to be fair, I think it's Poe. Just like Poe, fuck it. Whoever plays Poe, just perfect. Absolutely nails it. And they basically interrupt this little scene, and Elliot's like, "Who the hell's this dude?" And this dude's like, "I'm your wife."
Tries to hug him, and he's like, "Whoa, what the fuck's going on?" Yeah.
Yeah.
And Elliot at first does not believe that it's Ava, which is understandable. He's like, "Oh, my wife's in prison. This is a guy. Like, what's going on?" Because he also didn't expect his wife to get out of prison.
No, not at all.
So, and it's not like her body walked in. It's someone walked in as like that with no warning or anything. It's like, "I'm your wife."
I liked Poe's comment of like, doesn't love supersede everything.
Yeah. But I also really like that because like once he's convinced, he's just like, "Oh, this is my wife."
Yeah,
That's
so
it.
he totally doesn't care. Like after that point, it's like, yeah, it's her in there. That's the thing I love. So there we go. It's
There we
beautiful.
go. He just like
loved-
accepts it and moves on, and I love it.
Yeah, I loved that. Like just that demonstration of how that is. Like it's about the person, not the thing they're wearing.
Exactly.
We should care about who you are, not what you're wearing.
Yeah, but and they kind of have this like talk about where's Lizzie, what happened, and then Poe lets them go see Lizzie, but not interact with her, or at least that wasn't the intention, clearly. Because he hides them in the VR, and Lizzie's like doing, I think she's like practicing kung fu, honestly.
Yeah.
And then they're looking, and Elliot and Ava have this like conversation about what happened. Well, I wasn't there for this. Like, what happened? Like, please explain something. And Elliot's like, yeah, a lot of stuff went really bad, but he doesn't really offer any explanation because he doesn't know either. Like, what is he going to say? No. All he knows is his daughter was beaten and left for dead in an alleyway. Like, that you can't You can't explain yourself with that.
No. But I believe, if I remember at this point, the girl recognizes her mum.
Yeah, her
Like,
mom comes out and Lizzie sees her and instantly
knows it's her mum. And they have this nice little kind of conversation about life and what the hell is going on. And there's a nice little touching, like, family reunion moment inside there.
yeah, because after Lizzie sees Ava and like oh mom, and she comes up and hugs her and talks to her, Elliot comes out and Lizzie is she's clearly getting better because she doesn't freak out like she did last time. Although you see Poe in the background like very, very nervous.
Yeah, he's very like
Yeah, he's like, oh, this could go very badly. And then but she's like very happy. She sees her parents. She loves that. She like shows them a cool new trick she learned, which is she summons a gun from nowhere and shoots the fucking jacket off sign.
I always hated that sign.
And she's so excited to show them her cool new gun trick.
Yep.
And it's beautiful.
It is a nice moment. And then they leave. And I think it's this.
We also find out Lizzie calls Poe Eddie.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Which I love.
It's so cute.
Because she's like, Eddie did this for me. And Elliot looks at Poe and he's just like,
Like, oh, whatever works, man. It's adorably cute, and I did love that. Yeah.
So good.
And then I think they come out.
Yeah.
And
after that.
they have one of my other favorite lines in there, which is just like it's that kind of like you instinctively know by the way things are said and the way things are done that this is a mother who is pissed off and will not be taking any more of your bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
I call it the mum voice, and this guy fucking nailed it. Which is the where she basically turns around to Kovacs and says, "You're teaching my daughter to do this. You're teaching my daughter to be like an assailant." And he's like, "Well, that's not me." And
Poe's like, "I'm doing it."
And she turns to him and says, "I will get to you in a second." I was like, "That's perfect. That's exactly that's mum voice right there." And it was beautifully done. It was just one of those funny little kind of like moments. And like, I like it. Yeah. I like it.
All the actors in the show, like they do such a good job of like crossing these really traditional like roles or like characters. Like everyone nails what they're doing. I mean, Tattooed Guy forever is gonna steal the show in this. I
fucking love Tattoo Guy. He's so good.
Yeah, but everyone does such an excellent job of playing outside like the standard like, oh, this is a woman role or whatever dumb shit. They do such a good job of nailing this, despite the fact that they wouldn't normally be cast for that role.
Yeah, which I think if I was Tattoo Guy saying, "Oh yeah, I've played like an 86-year-old like like badass like old granny who smokes pot and has a bunch of grandchildren," I would hire that guy. Like, you fucking played that.
I feel like they could just their entire acting reel at this point could just consist of, yeah, I did this, and they're just like, well, you know,
well, then you're good enough for me. Like, yeah, I would hire that guy for anything. I think it's a really interesting way of thinking about it because it's playing people rather than playing a gender or playing a this or playing a that. Like, they don't need to worry about any of that crap. It's just like it's playing a character.
Yeah.
So if you can play that character, it doesn't matter what you are on the outside, which is it's an important thing. It's an important message, people.
It's very
important.
That one. And they did such a fucking good job of casting all of these people. Like, casting director out there, whoever you are, keep up the good work.
Fucking incredible. Anyway, before we get too distracted on
we kind of went off the thing.
on our like nerd boner for the Tattoo Guy. Let's move on.
Oh,
so
God.
I think it's towards the end of this scene, Kovacs basically says, "I need all of your help."
Yeah, which I do want to talk about the scene because as Ava's yelling at Kovac, she's like, you broke my daughter," and he's like, "No, she was already broken. I'm trying to help her get fixed. Like, she's gone. Your daughter, the one that you knew, gone. Sorry." Yeah, and Ava's like, "What am I gonna do with that?" And Kovac in his actual attitude, because this is a better example of like how Kovac is, he basically deals with people as if he were a hammer and they were a square peg and he had to get them into a round hole.
Yes.
Because he's just very like, listen, this is how it is. You have to deal with it. And like, it sucks, but this is how life is.
Yeah.
Because he just tells her, she's like, "What am I going to do with that?" And he's like, "Adapt. That's what Lizzie did. She's adapting. You have to do it too." And then
So basically, suck it up and move on. You can sit there and worry about it, or you can just get on with it.
Yeah, and that's when he tells him like, "Oh, I need your plan, because I have a doozy of a plan, and it's a real dumb plan."
And everyone needs to be involved. Everyone needs to get dirty. And my favorite reaction to this was Poe, like, "Huh? Really?" And he's like, "Dude, calm down."
Poe's like, "I get to be involved."
Yeah. I guess be your psychic. No, please calm down, Poe.
Poe has wanted to be involved since the beginning, and he finally gets to be involved, and he's so excited by it.
So good. So we don't, in typical fashion, we don't find out what the plot is or their plan is, because obviously things go to plan. This is one thing I've kind of picked up in these little things, is like, if they don't explain the plan, then the plan tends to go to plan. It's just how
we get to watch the plan rather than just hear.
Yes. It's the wonderful thing of showing you the plan rather than telling you the plan. If they tell you the plan, it's inevitably going to go wrong. Don't get me wrong, this is not always the case. Sometimes the plan goes wrong at the very end.
Yes.
But yeah, we'll find out whether it does in a second. So we then do, I think at this point, we go back to Ortega. I want to say we do.
Not yet. Okay. we get the beginnings of the plan, which is Kovacs jumps a bunch of broken stacks on a table.
Oh yeah.
And tells Ava and Elliot, "Hey, these are stacks of envoys from Stronghold. They all went crazy and attacked each other or themselves." And like, "Oh, it's Rollins virus." And he's like, "Yep." And they're like, "How did you survive?" And he's like,
"Wasn't there, man.
Wasn't there." And then brushes past it. Like, there's that quiet pause of where he's like, "How can I say this? I wasn't there." But basically he's like, "Ava, I need you to recreate Rollins virus because we're going to use it."
Yeah. And they're like, "You what?" And he's like,
"Just
yeah,
do the thing." And then it cuts to Poe at poker night.
Oh my god, it's so good.
Which I also want to point out, his poker shirt says Edgar A.
Yes, I know. It's so good.
It's so good. He's so cute.
He's wearing like a bowling shirt type thing. I assume that's what it is. And
that's
his hair like kind of messy and a bit like puffed out more than it should be.
It's Poe relaxed, you know? Like, it's Poe at poker night.
Yeah, it's poker night. And he's playing one other guy.
Yeah, he's playing the AI that runs the weird like
VR
sex brothel. Yeah, Prick Up.
Prick Up. Which I thought was a great name for a brothel type.
It's a great pun brothel name, but it is an awful actual name.
Yeah, I respect the puns, so no, I respect the name of this thing. So there's Prick Up, and we keep flashing back to the kind of AI bartender. I'm not really sure why or what she's doing there, but she just is. And
it's real weird.
Yeah, it's like, don't get me wrong, they probably should have. It's ironic that AI have a bartender, being they can't drink and they don't need to. But they do for the ambience, you know.
The only thing I can think of is that because they're AI, this is all some sort of like routine, like a program that's running.
It's a
which means that one of these AI at some point decided that their little get-together spot needed to have a bartender. It needed to be this particular, which means that one of these AI coded a subroutine to play the role of a bartender while they hang out with their AI friends. And it's just like, what? It's so good.
It's crazy. I like to think it's like the host. Like, so there's a hosting service. The bartender is the hosting service.
It's just there's just a server bank somewhere.
It's just AWS. Like, it's its own, like, we have to put this in here. It's like a sub. You can click it if you want to. You don't have to. Oh, you click. Okay, fine. Yeah,
all right,
sure.
fine. Whatever. Use it. It's fine. Whatever.
Yeah, whatever. It's around. So they're having this. They're having this poker game, and and the guy from Prick Up basically says, "I hear you have a murder victim. People like doing murder victims because they scream. Humans are really into that shit. So
and I can be a weird creep."
Yeah, and he plays creepy vibe to a maximum. This guy, and he says, you know, if I win, I get her, and if you win, well, that's never going to happen. It never happens. And then Poe's like, yeah, I'm all in. Fuck it, why not? I'm like, there's something else going on here. And I think he loses the hand, right?
He loses the hand, and this dude's super excited because he's like, oh, I'll come pick her up in the morning. And by the way, you also see, because the guy's like, you shouldn't name them because it makes you attach to them, like all this
Yeah.
stuff. And Poe's also very, like, the guy gets this like look on his face, like the actor, you can tell he's like, Poe's upset by the way this guy's talking about Lizzie, but also can't react to it because of the whole plan that's going on.
Uh-huh. Yeah, it's a very subtle form of it. It's a thing where you can look at someone and know what they're thinking.
Mm-hmm.
They don't need to change their facial expression. You just there's something in it. There's just something about the eyes, something about the way they hold their body stiffly. I don't know what it is, but this guy like nails the this is what I'm thinking look.
Yeah, he does it so well.
Yeah.
But Poe can't react because he loses here, but his poker chips are the Rollins virus, and as he
Yes.
walks out, the owner of Prickup goes insane and basically kills himself.
Yeah. We see this like really cool effect in because this is a hologram.
Mm-hmm.
We see, and you can tell like just by the lighting effects and such like and the transparency on it. But like his eyes go like a really cool green color.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's so out of place with the rest of it. It's noticeable, but it's not like terrible. It just looks really cool. And yeah, he basically goes like face down on the table, and one assumes the dude is dead. The AI program is ceasing to exist.
Yes.
And like every good scene on these types, the door closes behind Poe, and that's the end of the scene.
Yep, that's the end of that. But the
Yep.
next scene is Kovac goes to the Bancroft place, and they do the classic like murder mystery of a bunch of people in the room, and the investigator's like, "One of you is the murderer." And
This
you're all
this
my
this was
witnesses.
exactly the like I sent you a comment earlier today in the Slack, which was the I had a complete like Inspector Clouseau moment here.
Yes.
Of, like it's the everybody gather around while I tell you a little story, rather than just saying you killed him and dragging him away. No, like he has to explain how clever he is. Obviously he needs to, because he needs to set up the right person, because cool thing. So everyone has been summoned together at Bancroft, and Bancroft's like, all these people are here, why? Because one of them killed you. And Bancroft like brings in a crazy lady with Snake, who we know to be Ray. And she's obviously watching her brother rather intently. Because she wants him and is hoping she doesn't get dobbed in, and essentially, yeah, he lays this very clever story. He weaves this wonderful story together of what happened to Bancroft the night he died, and he brings out this convincing various pieces of hologram and information and stuff, which the two hacker people, the Dipper, Ava and Elliot, are working on to show at the time, of bringing out this kind of like information and saying that this has been signed for by this person, and it's all been laid on Prescott, the lawyer.
Yeah, which I do
That's
like.
her name.
That's it. Yeah, I also do like the fact that it jumps back to Elliot and Ava, and they're doing their hacking stuff while Bancroft is telling a story, or Kovac is telling a story. So you're not just watching Kovac walk around in a circle talking; you're getting to see other characters.
Yeah, it's reinforcing that this isn't the truth.
Yep.
This is reinforcing that this is a lie because it's being fabricated. Like,
Yeah,
as we're looking, it's being like they are changing things, they're making adaptations, they're making things work.
Yeah.
And we have this nice little, when they flash back, of Ava going, "I don't want to ruin this woman's life. Like, this isn't right. Why are we doing this?" And then Edit's like, "No, fuck her."
He's like, people like her ruined Lizzie's life, and just he hits the enter button or whatever to like cause whatever happens.
Yeah, and he Kovacs then just like lays all the blame on her on Prescott, like the lawyer, and obviously the lawyer's like, "Yeah, he's framing me," which is true. Like, why are you doing this? This isn't right. Don't believe him. And everybody there buys it because he's an envoy. Why would he need? Well, everything he presents is this, that, and the other. He's come to these conclusions because of this, that, and the other.
Yeah. And the lie that he weaves is that the night that Bancroft came back from Osaka, he went to prick up, and his stack got infected with Rollins. But the only reason he went there was he had assaulted Prescott in the sleeve she was wearing to like be his aide or whatever. And then he says that Bancroft fired her, and she had to pay out of pocket to fix the sleeve. But Prescott wasn't happy about that, so she infected Prickup. Yeah, she set up like it's this very convincing, very good lie of like he covers all these details, and Prescott's like, "I didn't do that. Like, what the fuck? I definitely did not do any of that." And it's this very, it's a good lie. I mean, in the way that all the pieces fit.
It's like it could be forced. It could fit. Like they change things so far as they think.
But again, because this is what this whole episode's about, your perception's based on what you're told.
Yes.
Kovacs lays out a lie, and it fits what Bancroft wants to see.
He wants to see someone suffer for what happened to him.
Yeah. So Tanaka goes to arrest her after this whole thing happens, and Bancroft's like, no, I'm not going to press charges. And instead, he's like, "You're never gonna leave the ground again. No one's ever gonna hire you." Like he literally he's like, "I'm gonna take everything from you."
He dismantles her. Like he takes away her ability to practice law. He basically goes, "We're confiscating all of your things. Like your line of credit is gone. That's it. There's nothing." So basically, she gets reduced to the sleeve she's in, and that's about it. She cannot get work anywhere else that she's doing. Like she has to change everything. Like she's lost her life, and she knows it. And then basically gets escorted out. And there's an interesting little bit with, I think it's Lawrence Bancroft, the wife.
The wife, pretty much after Prescott gets escorted out, everyone leaves except for Methray, who is like, I thought you were gonna point him at me, but you convinced everyone else here that Prescott was the person who did it, which convinced Bancroft. It was that. You
convinced the group, you convinced the man. Yeah. That was essentially, I think, the phrasing she used, give or take.
Something like that. Yeah, it was very close to that. And basically the idea was like, you convinced everyone around him, so subconsciously he's going to believe it as well, because groupthink. It is a thing.
It's a group survival.
Yeah.
It's just that strategy of individuals need to follow the group to survive. So yeah, there's that, and then
now we go back to Ortega here, who calls Mickey in the rain, walking around. It's just the most depressing shot ever.
Yeah, it's like a real sad moment.
It is. And she's like, "Did you find out who that genetic material belonged to?" And Mickey's like, "I told you not to call me here." And she's like, "That's not a no." And he shuts the door and tells her, he's like, "Okay, yeah, I traced it back to Psychosect and to a vault, but when I pulled the information about the vault, it's not registered to anybody."
Yeah.
And she's like, "Okay, what's the vault number?" And you don't find out what it is, but you do see Ortega has gone hunting, which is she sits down next to a random person at a ramen cart, steals his food, is like, "Hey, remember when I arrested you like a year ago?"
And she's like, "You know how you work for this place?" And he's like, "Yeah." It's like, "Real shame if they found out what you were busted for." And he was like, "Okay." And basically takes her to the vault.
He does, but it cuts back to Kovacs real fast. Because Kovacs is wandering around in Bancroft's study, and there's some voiceover work basically talking about... it's sort of just like him putting together all the pieces he knows in his own way.
So there's like lots of little flashbacks to various like little phrasing from here and from there. Like we hear a little bit from the neo-Christians and neo-Catholics, sorry. We hear like various pieces from like the second he turned up to things that Reyes said, things that Bancroft has said. There's this whole little like montagey flashy moment, not quite flashes, but of audio work.
He looks through the telescope that Bancroft has and sees a floating station that says Head in the Clouds, I think.
I think so. It's something cloud
and it cuts back to Poe, who says that back in like episode 1, who's like right back up to your head in the clouds, and even flashes a quick hologram of that.
Yeah, and we get to like little audio flashbacks of Rey saying that she's now heavily involved in like the business of the flesh or something along those lines. So she basically, she has fingers in all the pies. And he basically puts together all these things, and then we hear the voiceover of Kelcrest, who I think they end up putting... I think they work her into this episode. We see her again. And she basically says, "Do you not wonder where your lie comes from?"
Yeah, like the truth behind all the lie that you told.
Yeah, which is weaving in the truth that you know. Because that's the easiest way to lie, is to try not to lie and put it in with the truth, because you can't then pick it apart very well.
And... you don't find out all the things, but you clearly do see that Kovacs has figured everything out here.
Yeah.
Kovacs knows.
he knows what's going on. He knows who it is. He knows actually what kind of happens, give or take. Obviously, we don't know yet because I'm just a dumb audience member.
Well, there's also there's 2 episodes left.
Yeah, there's 2 episodes left because it'd be dumb if they give it to all us now.
But then it jumps back to Ortega because there's a lot of really long segments between Kovacs and Ortega until the end where it cuts very rapidly. And it cuts to Ortega going into the psychosect. The guy lets her into this vault. And she's like, oh, who owns this place? Guess what's in the vault, everybody? Valanda, you want to tell them?
It begins with a bar. So we walk into this wonderful little place, and as soon as she walks through the door, on the right hand side behind her, if you're her, like stage right, stage left, there's a crossbow on the wall, and looking around this thing, you can see more weapons. Crossbows and swords and daggers and shit.
There is my personal favorite, just a naked katana on the wall.
Yes. It's like, oh, now I know what this place is.
Yep. But Ortega doesn't know yet.
Because she's not seen it.
She hasn't. But the guy locks her in the vault, and she's like, okay, we're going to find out who you are. And she, like, rubs the condensation away on one of the pods. Oh, there's Ray. Or a clone of Ray, anyway.
Completely fucking naked.
Yep. Gonna have another whole naked thing here.
Surprise! Naked.
Shocker. It's really shocking that in Altered Carbon we see more nudity.
More nudity. So yeah, Ray climbs out of this pod. And they have the little like evil villain talk of who the fuck are you? I'm not telling you. No. Which then basically dissolves to a fight.
But I do like this fight because Ortega kills Ray after getting stabbed with glass or so. She gets like hurt in some way, kills Ray's clone. Guess what? She's in a whole room with Ray's clone. So it's the next like minute is some computer voice being like, vault failure, and then Ray jumps through some glass and she gets shot. And it's just like,
oh my god, this whole scene reminded me of a bit from like House of the Dead, where like you're stuck in a room and things keep like jumping out of windows and diving out of stuff, and basically you're stuck in a single room with like a single gun, like fuck, they're coming out of the fucking they're coming out of the goddamn walls. It's pretty much what I got. And even the lights are flashing, like they're just like going off, like boo, boo, boo. Noises are going off, like a voice is going off. And we hear smashing glasses, and we see like lots of naked Rays diving all over the place, getting shot out of midair, and it's beautiful.
It's so good.
Exactly like something from a horror survival kind of like shoot 'em up game.
It really is
fucking beautiful. I'm like, I love that. I don't know if it's a homage or whether it's just the fact that you guys went, nah, this is gonna be fucking cool. It was fucking cool. I love it
because you think, oh, this is gonna be like. Because you've seen Ray fight, and you're like, oh, this is going to be like a long, drawn-out, multi-clone fight. No, it's like she has a fight, then kills like 12 clones, and then one that you think is dead, because she like reloads her gun, and she's trying to call Mickey, and then one that you think is dead stands up behind her and grabs some glass, and they have another little fight, which Ray's like, do you know how much money you just cost me?
Yeah.
And it ends with Ortega punching, like collapsing Ray's chest with her.
God, like we see it from behind because she's got like, and she's been using this arm to defend herself. She's been using it like a shield because it's fucking badass arm.
Because at some point Ray gets one of her mini swords off the wall.
Yeah, and just goes ham for her. So like we see it from behind. We see her having hold of Ray, and we see her punch forward, and we see the ribs get like kind of like pushed against the skin on her back. It's like, oh, that's fucking brutal. I love that shit.
Like she's so dead.
And then she punches her again.
Yeah. Well, I mean, let's be fair.
Double tap.
Yeah. You gotta double tap a crazy murderer who has a bunch of clones.
Yeah.
But one last door opens. Ortega, bleeding out of being cut by a sword and stabbed by glass, at least once a piece, walks in there and finds the little girl curled up in the corner, and she's like crying. And she's like, "Oh, she locked me in here." And Ray
so cool.
Ortega leans down. She's like, "Oh, don't worry, you're safe now." And we cut to black because Ortega doesn't know that's definitely another clone.
Yeah, it's the creepy girl from not creepy girl. It's the girl that we found out that Ray's been using, and it was the girl that Kovacs met. Basically said my friend's a bitch.
Yep,
That one.
it's that
Um,
one.
and it's just like, no, why are you doing this?
It's
The
gonna,
girl's gonna kill you.
oh, it's gonna be so bad.
There was a part of me hoping that we get to see a little girl stabbing Ortega. I'm like, I would have fucking like, I would have lost my shit. You never see that
You
in any of
don't.
these sort of things.
You
It's
don't.
always done like
Oh,
off cam, and I always loved to have seen it, but they didn't. And we closed the episode on the Firefly things, making the shape of a skull and a raven on top of the skull. I'm like, maybe we're gonna get more Poe. Please.
oh, it's lovely.
Thank you.
It's so good.
I feel happy for next week. I saw that as the final like Firefly image. I'm like, God damn it! I have to hit stop again. Fuck.
Unfortunately, yeah, that was episode 8 though. So Valanda, real quickly, how would you rate this episode?
This is gonna get a 5. I fucking love this episode. Like, yes, there were some tropey things in it. Yes, there was more creepy incest in it, but there's so much dropped in here, and it was done really well. And the homage to like the whole like Inspector Clouseau type thing of like, everyone gets around the parlor while we explain what's going on. The whole thread of this thing being like lies shaping your perception, that was really fucking rad. The fight scene at the end was fucking awesome. I thought it was really good. There's so much in here that I really like. Again, we have that ongoing theme of it doesn't matter what you look like on the outside, it's the thing on the inside that's important. We have that wonderful thing again, and it's just like, oh, this is just so good. I love this episode. It's like this gets 5 bulbs. What about you, dude?
Oh, definitely 5. We're finally seeing all the threads starting to come back together. Where we've picked up one here and there, and we're finally seeing them come together. The end of this episode with Kovacs, you're like, it tells you straight up like he's figured out the thing.
Mm-hmm.
He knows what it is. So now it's just you need to figure out the thing, and you're gonna find out very soon. Like you said, the fight scene at the end is amazing because it's such a like even watching it the first time, like when I was also watched this at work, it was a terrible plan. Because this whole scene was just like, oh, okay.
It's beautiful.
It's a very well done scene. However, you basically I have now seen everything on that woman, whoever plays Ray.
Nothing is hidden.
Pretty much no. I guarantee whoever did the dailies for that actually did see everything on that woman.
Yeah, probably, yeah.
Just because that's the kind of thing you would shoot it and then post production would probably you'd shadow stuff out, like digitally make shadows. Probably wasn't the case in the dailies, but it's a very well done scene because I did like the fact that it's like a minute of pod failure and then you hear glass break and you see Ortega shoot and just like a body fall. Like that was, it's just like, oh damn, so many dead bodies.
This whole scene is it looks amazing. Like the sound work they did, it was freaking awesome. Just everything when it was done really well. And I was like, this is a good fight scene. This may possibly be my favorite fight scene in here. And we've had Kovacs fighting like a big like metal hulky type dude. That was quite high up on my list of cool fights. But this was just like, yeah, this is just too good.
Not to mention we brushed over the fact that in the last part of the fight, the clone that you think is dead that gets up, it turns into an actual just like brawl, and like one's like Ray's trying to stab Ortega with glass. Ortega picks up a handful of glass and smashes it in Ortega's head,
It's
or
brutal.
Ray's head. Like it's this really brutal fight because they like both lose their weapons, so it's just them like punching and picking up glass and attacking each other with it. It's this really brutal fight scene, and it's just really well done because the vault's this like pale blue color. The lights are like really like clinical and bright. It's just it's so well done. It's a very good fight scene. Yeah, it's definitely a 5. I would have to give this a 5, 100%. And I'm very excited for the last 2 episodes.
I'm excited for the next episode so much, just because like the end of this episode was a skull with a raven claw on top. Like this is all I need to know about the next episode. I would watch it.
I want to watch it. I want to watch it. I want to watch it.
I want to watch it right the fuck now.
Oh, you're gonna be excited.
I'm already so excited, man. I'm really excited. So that brings us pretty much on the hour, my dude.
Yeah, pretty much. I don't have any other comments about it other than you should go watch Altered Carbon if you haven't.
Watch the whole thing.
If we haven't convinced you, what are you doing? Please go watch it.
Yes, please. We will not stop harping on this. Like, I think we really have genuinely gone from something really shit to something really good. We need to now find our middle ground. Like, we found the worst of everything, and we found like top dollar stuff. So
yes.
I think we're spoiled.
Oh my god, yes. Just this is not a usual thing, but do you have anything you want to plug this week? Any particular like maybe not related to what you're doing, but just like.
Okay, so TLD comes out today, tomorrow.
It depends on where you are in the relation to the time zones and whatnot. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, for me it's today, but for Drew it's tomorrow. I don't really fucking know. So TLD episode 50 comes out, and it's an amazing crossover episode with the Dark Dice podcast, which Drew.
I have an actual question. Is it only one episode?
It's 2.
Okay, I was just curious, like what.
We broke it into 2 episodes. I think for actual Dark Dice, I think it's going to be 3. I think. Right. Because we can run long on TLD, and it's fucking amazing. Just listen. If it's so good, like it's a self-contained-ish story. Definitely listen. Just do it. Also out this week is something I did called Noonday Witch, which comes out on Wednesday for 11th Hour Amigos. That's fucking amazing. Also, I was in something called 11th Hour Productions, which was called Breathless, and I played like a oh my god kind of girl, and that's hilarious.
Already.
Shit, what else am I going to plug this week? Fuck my life. Also, White Vault, that comes out again this week. Go listen to that, because it's possibly the best episode so far.
More stuff to listen to.
Yes, I think that's probably it. I think that's everything I could possibly plug without sounding like an asshole. So, Drew.
Plugging things. Let's see. The arc finale for the current Taking Initiative arc comes out on Monday. Comes out tomorrow for me.
Ooh.
Which it's the arc finale, so you should go listen to that. It's a whole thing.
Do it.
Go listen to TLD if you don't. If you don't listen to that, what are you doing with your life, please? Go binge Nerds on a Roll, because that's great. They just wrapped up their first season.
Yeah, they had the epilogue last week, right?
They had the epilogue last week, and I think Tuesday is the post-mortem, so they're going to answer a bunch of questions that people ask them. You get to see behind-the-scenes sort of thing, so that'll be really cool.
Nice.
Yeah, pretty much all the stuff Alonda plugged about Dark Dice, White Vault. These are all really good things. Go listen to them. Follow me, whatever.
Do a thing if you wanna do a thing. It's a thing.
I don't have those were the things that I was gonna plug. I don't really have anything else. I don't think.
Cool. All right. I guess that's
us, yeah.
That's us done then. I guess. Yeah. Like I've put all the links into the chat, so if anyone's there, it's there.
Yeah. You should know where to find us by now.
Exactly. Yeah.
We'll also look in the chat.
I guess that's wrapping it for this week, and we'll be seeing you next week. I think. Yes, next week. So. Yeah. All right. Cool beans. All right.
All right, everyone. Thanks for coming by. We'll see you next week for episode 9.
Bye.